Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So in this video I'm going to be giving you 10 tips for watercolour and gouache painting in general, and I'm just going to be talking over a recent painting that I did of a stream going through a forest-like setting. Number 1. Use good quality materials such as professional watercolour paper, paintbrushes and paints. Good quality materials are essential for successful watercolour and gouache painting. Using high quality watercolour paper will ensure that your paint will not bleed or soak through each page, while good paintbrushes will allow you to apply the paint with precision and control, will generally last much longer. Good quality materials are essential for successful watercolour and gouache painting. Using high quality watercolour paper will ensure that your paint will not bleed or soak through each page, while good paintbrushes will allow you to apply the paint with precision and control, will generally last longer and tend to be able to hold more paint. Investing in good quality paints will ensure that you have a rich, vibrant palette to work with. Tip number 2. Experiment with different brush strokes to create texture and interest in your paintings. Experimenting with different brush strokes is a great way to add texture and interest to your paintings. Experiment with long, sweeping strokes with a larger brush, short, choppy strokes with a small brush, and everything in between to create unique textures and patterns. Try using different brushes for different effects, such as a stiff bristle brush for bold marks or dry brushing, or a soft round brush for delicate blending. Tip number 3. Use a limited colour palette to create harmonious compositions. Using a limited colour palette, especially early on, can help to create a harmonious composition in your painting. Choose a few colours that complement each other and work well together, and stick to these for your painting. This will help to create a cohesive look and will allow you to focus on the composition and technique. You should also practice with black and white paints only initially, so you can get used to the brushes and the medium. Tip number 4. Build up layers of paint to create depth and form. Building up layers of paint is a great way to create depth and form in your painting. Start with a light wash and gradually build up the layers until you achieve the desired level of saturation and opaqueness, which comes mostly from the gouache. This method allows you to create a sense of volume and dimension in your work. Tip number 5. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Watercolour and gouache are inherently fluid mediums which allows for easy correction. Embrace the organic flowing nature of the medium and use it to your advantage to create interesting and unique effects. Tip number 6. Work from light to dark and use a wet on wet technique to allow the colours to blend and flow together. Working from light to dark and using a wet on wet technique can create stunning effects in watercolour and gouache paintings. By starting with a light wash and gradually building up the layers, you can allow the colours to blend and flow together, creating a harmonious composition. Tip number 7. Use a spray bottle to add texture and interest to your paintings. The spray bottle can be a useful tool in watercolour and gouache painting, allowing you to add interesting textures and patterns to your work. Experiment with different spray patterns and intensities to create unique effects. Tip number 8. Protect your work by framing it behind glass or using a fixative spray. This will ensure that your painting stays looking fresh and vibrant for years to come. If I personally don't have a glass frame available, I tend to store my watercolour and gouache paintings away in a drawer or in a box, specifically for paintings. Tip number 9. Use a palette knife or other tools to create interesting textures and marks in your paint. Using a palette knife or other tools can add interesting textures and marks to your paintings. Experiment with different tools to create unique effects, such as scraping away paint to reveal the layers underneath, or using a palette knife to create thick impasto-like marks. Tip number 10. Practice regularly to improve your skills and develop your own unique style. Regular practice is the key to improving your skills and developing your own unique style. Set aside time each week to experiment and practice, and don't be afraid to try new techniques and approaches. The more you practice, the more confident and skilled you will become, and the more your own unique style will emerge. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please do like, share and subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you all next time.